How are you guys doing? I've set up a very weird camera angle for this one. I hope it's fine. Should be live now. There we go. That looks alright. Anyway, how are you guys doing? I'm going to be tweeting out on Twitter real quick. Hence the only place you do tweet. It's zoomed in a bit more. This is one I've been working on this week. I'm not too in love with it, and I'm hoping that we can maybe fix it during this little bit of an arcade that we're doing. Going live on YouTube. Art. Just want to make sure I actually was on time. But anyway, how are you guys doing? Good, I hope. If you look on Twitter, you can actually see the doofy looking setup I have for this. I don't really have a better way of setting it up than the way I do. Where I've taped the camera that you guys are watching from via this. And then I've got... There we go. Now people are jumping in. And then I've got it taped to the DSLR. So we're going to be listening to the same jams as we have been. Just because I have not gotten around to actually going and getting more. So the first one is Things Will Be Okay. It's a song I wrote. I need to write another one. Haven't gotten around to it. I'll write a new song soon. Hopefully before Sunday. We'll see. I started with a sketch for this, and I feel like the sketch is better than the actual drawing. Where's the sketch? Yeah, I feel like this sketch, let me see. You don't like the head size. Yeah. See, like, this is... Where's the camera? There it is. It's going to be like a minute before I can actually see whether or not you guys see that or not. But anyway, that's what I'm working with. That was my original sketch. And I feel like it's better than the painting itself. And I cannot, for the life of me, figure out how to make it better. So I'm going to be... fussing around with some stuff, fussing around with some colors, and maybe making the head size better. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Let me get the camera going, get the music going, and we'll see how it goes. There we go. The camera's off again. I'm gonna have to shift you guys as well. Now, where are you guys looking? Because I had to shift it for me. You guys have an okay angle still. That's good enough. Okay, cool. I set up the camera over here in this spot rather than its regular arcade stream spot. And that means it's going to be a little bit off. So one thing I wanted to try is I want to see if by adding yellow, if that'll help. I like the brushwork I've got going on this, like really intense, really painterly. It's similar to this one that I did a little while back that I didn't share. Kind of feel bad about now because actually it's pretty good. Maffa wanted to see what my mistakes look like, the ones that I don't feel like are good enough. So I decided I'd go ahead and stream it. In the very least, if I decide not to use this one, we'll see. Can you guys hear me all right? It's hard to hear you. That answers that question. Let me crank myself up quite a bit more. That should be better. Is this better over here? When I'm not looking at the camera anyway. This is when I'm looking at the camera. We're gonna have to go back in and fix some of the black as well, because there's some yellow on the black, but I'm not gonna fret too much about it right now. In fact, we're just gonna paint over bits. I like this song. This song came out great. The other one I don't really care for. It still needs some love. I think it's the drum beat. I think if I drop the drum beat, it'll be better. I don't know if I like it more or less with the yellow. We'll see how it looks once the whole thing is with yellow. Sounds good to you? No, it's actually YouTube. Okay. This is also just sort of forcing me to actually sit down and do art. I don't have the tools listed because I'm not really sure what I'm using yet. There we go. Just need a little bit of raw sinew. I'm trying to get rid of the last little bit of random colors, so I'm using some kind of wonky colors. Because I want to eventually switch over to golden, because I feel like I make better quality art with it. Like the higher end paint. But I don't want all this good Liquitex paint to go to waste. I don't know if I like him yellow. You know what I mean? YouTube's good. I like that YouTube Red, the thing you're paying for, doesn't work right. It's good. It's cute. And I'm sorry it's like the same songs over and over again. Sort of a necessary thing. The music is just to make it so that way you guys don't hear like the rumble of my AC or something like that. I don't know. It looks like a mask. Yeah, I recently figured out that if the creepy dude, the guy that's supposed to be scaring you, is scared, that's scarier than if he looks like he's like about to attack. It looks more threatening. Because, like, what is he scared of? And if he's scared, is he about to attack? It's like, it's more primal. And less like, oh, he's angry and therefore, you know, like, I don't know. This is what I was thinking about when I was making this. I was like, what if I did that emotion instead? And how is that going to work? And on the sketch, it looks great. But on this painting so far, not so much. Okay, just want to make sure I was recording still. I know I am on YouTube, but I don't know if I am on... Or I didn't know if I was on my DSLR. And I'm sorry the camera quality's not that great. These streams are going to be more common. I said they were going to be weekly, and then I didn't end up streaming the week that I said it was going to be weekly. This week I have off, more or less. I had to work one day this week, which is not too bad. But the other days this week, or last week, I had to work a lot, so I'm kind of rushing this painting over how much I would really like to spend on it. Because normally what I like to do is I like to try and do a painting a week, and then pick the better of the two. But like I said, Mafo is interested in like my failures as well. And they can be interesting, I guess. This one I'm about ready to call a failure. Because it's like just not quite right. Like there's stuff that I could fix. And I don't know as if the yellow is right. The person's mood reflects on you. More or less. I feel like the way you interpret different facial expressions changes based on what exactly they're feeling. Like when someone's smiling, they're happy. You understand that. And in some way, you might feel happier. But if they're an evil person, then maybe you don't. Kind of depends. Camera looks okay. That full glass of water is awfully close to your keyboard. It's always right there. Which is why occasionally during stream I knock it over. Anyway, what have you guys been up to? Not really sure what to talk about. I just spent a little bit of time editing today for tomorrow's highlight video. And spent about 2 hours. I actually timed it this time. More or less, anyway. I feel like the texture is better. What do you exactly want to accomplish? I want this to look good. I think I need to work on his face. I think his facial expressions are a little off. And the yellow is a brighter color, but it's not as bright as white. So I feel like it should dull it slightly, but not a lot. And it just needs a little bit of dulling, I think. And this section needs to be cleaned up, because that's wrong. He looks super fat. But this is his back right here, right? His back, his shoulders are kind of slumped. Then you got his chest here, and then you got his other arm. But it doesn't read as that. I found a CD of... I used to paint, but I gave up on it. Understandable, honestly. It's, painting is rough. It's expensive, too. Now, do I want the background to be yellow as well? Not even totally sold on having him yellow yet. Is that dude supposed to be nude? Yeah, I guess. He's like not like human though. Like he just looks human. I think that's the angle I'm going for. Like I really want it to be very much like a Pikmin's model, like where did I find this sort of thing? And then the knowledge that it's from a real thing. Although it's not from real. It's sort of like those, like, based on a true story horror movies. Like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when it's, like, based on a dude going into a lawn store once and playing around with a chainsaw for, like, 5 seconds and then he stops. He's the Golder dude on a... Yes, very different than the Silver Surfer. Also, if the camera keeps shaking, it's because it's taped on. Sorry about that. This part of the song I'm a little bit unsure of. Feels like it's kind of just like, what is going on? What am I doing? And then it goes back to the part where it, like, feels more confident and less like it's struggling to figure out where it's going with the song. So I'm using the stuff that I learned from Hermes and stuff like that. Can the duct tape fix itself? Yes. Why not? Might need to make his neck thicker. I'm looking kind of at my original source sketch to see if I can figure out what I could be doing better. I think his mouth is part of it. And I think that this is supposed to like come in a bit more with the blacks. Like I need to be a little bit darker there. You like the build of the man? It makes him look strange. I need to fix it a little bit, but I like where it's going generally. Just not completely. I think I need to do some stuff like down here. I need to... need this to look more like an arm than it is right now. Like, you need to be able to differentiate where the arm starts and where the back starts. And understand that he's not just super thick, that it's just like... I don't know. I'm not sure how to fix this in like 24 hours. This may be one I have to abandon. Because I'm just not a fan of it. It's just not going the way I want it to. Do you know what I mean? Like, do I want to keep committing to this one with the understanding that I have 24 hours left to... Well, I have tomorrow as well, so if this does go bad, I can... But do I really want to rush it? Not really. So it might be better just to start a new one sooner rather than later. We might do something similar, or we might do something completely different. I don't know yet. This is a good thing to watch while you're trying to sleep, I feel like. Can I hide this? There we go. Now I can actually see it in live. The yellow looks better. No, I didn't do all this on stream. Not at all. I've been doing this over the past week while I've had time. I've been doing a lot of other work recently, and so I haven't had a lot of time to paint recently, so... This guy is super rushed. More so than I'd like for him to be. Originally he was red. And the background was red too. I'm not totally convinced by that. I like the idea of having these really, like, obvious strokes mixed with some, like, fighting black lines. I like that. Him being red and gold would be awesome. I feel like this looks amateurish. And I don't know why. I'm just kind of like out of my rhythm recently with this channel. I feel like it's a little bit like forced, if that makes sense. It doesn't really do it quite right. think I'm gonna tone down the back actually a little bit. Mix it in with the yellow, just wet on wet, and get just a slightly darker variant. If that doesn't work, we'll just mix some more yellow in. We'll keep doing that until we get something a little bit lighter. So it looks like it's a little bit too dark, so we're just going to mix in some yellow directly onto the canvas. So it looks like a slight highlight, but not like a full highlight. Gets muddy, but whatever. That fade I want to be a little bit muddier. Is that better? That's a little bit better. Is that freaking Haster? Yeah, that's a good point. It being yellow kind of gives him that look, doesn't it? I like this part of the song. I think it's kind of proof that I don't need the drum beat. I think Maffa pointed it out last time that he also tried to, he showed me the, what was it? The idea of doing it where it was like, reverse pianos. I don't know if I really like that sound or not. I don't know if this guy's salvageable. He may not be. I'm beginning to think that I'm wasting my time trying to fix him up, but I'm trying to just try and do a couple more things, and if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and we just move on. There are other paintings that are similar that we can do. So now we're on to Kevin MacLeod, concentration, and so on and so forth. No, you guys are fine. This is just painting, honestly. This is what painting is for me sometimes. I wouldn't sell this. Like, I couldn't feel like I could sell this to someone, is the issue. So I think I'm gonna put this dude aside. I'm gonna put him aside and do something new and see if we can get it done right. Just caked in there a bit. Maybe different colors? I don't know what I need to do. Just put this dude over here and we'll think about him. We'll think about what we can do to improve him a bit. I mean, yeah. I think I just need to look at him later with new eyes. I don't think he's a lost cause necessarily, but I need him to go away for a bit and he'll come back and we'll think about him. Yeah. I think that's the idea. Rather than trying to do what I was doing. So let me look through my sketchbook and find something different to do. Because I've done a couple drawings like this that I feel like are good recently, and I feel like I could do something similar, but better. So I'll do this one instead. Because I kind of started him... And I think I should do instead this way streaks rather than this way streaks, because I think that looks better. I was trying to emulate this painting that I did a while back as well. Maybe let me go and look at Tumblr a little bit. I've got like a mentioned it in like how to have like inspiration constantly. And I had I've got a secret Tumblr account that's literally just me reblogging things that I find aesthetically pretty. So I'm gonna go and look at that and see if there's like a color palette that I want to do. Yeah, maybe this one instead. Okay, cool. We'll try that. So more horizontal bam bams instead of vertical zoop zoops. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds good to me. Oh, my mom just texted me. She's funny about stuff. Okay. Thought it was Tilda, to be honest. Is that good? That's a good camera angle. Alright, cool. We'll go with that. Alright, cool. So, do I want it horizontally instead? I feel like we want this more vertically, so we're gonna do like a line like this, maybe a little bit to the side of that. It's probably too far to the right. Maybe like here instead. And then sketching the rest of the details. So what I'm doing, for those of you who aren't like super into art, what I'm doing is I've gotten a little bit of water and I'm basically using acrylic like watercolor, and it gets you these sketchy lines, and you can use it to kind of like pencil in where you want stuff, and it doesn't use as much paint, and it doesn't take as much paint to like sketch over. So if what I do sucks, like this right here, that line is totally wrong. So we're gonna just ignore him later. And then I want to have like a line here. Probably let you guys know like maybe a day in advance before I do an art stream, rather than like an hour and then change the time. I don't know why I'm being so hard on myself today. Just kind of having one of those days, man. I want to make sure I've got something for... I feel that mood, but also stop that. Well, yeah, I know what you mean. Editing went well. I feel like by the end of it, I was feeling good, and then I started painting, and I'm like, you know what I mean? I texted back and forth with my mom. Hope you guys don't mind. I don't really. I'm not gonna stop. I'm sorry. I don't talk to her enough. I'm kind of one of those sons. Here I am beating myself up again. And so I just need to... When she texts me, I try and text back because, you know, I don't know. What do I think of Picario? That's that art program, right? I haven't used it, so I have no opinion one way or another, really. I'm probably gonna fuss around with this for a bit, and then we'll go from there. There's an art stream website. Oh, okay. I know of it. Obviously not too terribly well because I thought it was an art program instead. I'm using YouTube because I want this channel to get better. Like I said, I think last time, every minute that you guys watch counts towards the analytic of 4,000 hours that I need to have for them to actually give me all the features that this channel needs in order to like run properly. I've gotten spoiled by it on the other two channels because they get 4,000 a month in viewer hours, but because this channel's new and it's, you know, yada yada, it doesn't have it yet. So I can kind of cheat by streaming on here, and then by streaming on here, then yeah, that's basically what I'm going for. More or less. Something like that. Alright, let's get some background colors going. I want to do like what all do I want to have going on? Me and my brother used to get in fights. We kind of stopped that after he grew up a bit. He's older than me. But I was always the more reserved of the two of us. And so that meant that when he was more excitable and more like whatever, it was just like, can you chill? I don't know. I think that's just having a brother, though, is like having that back and forth going. We get along great now, but when we were younger, it was like, oh my god, can you stop? And I'm sure he felt the same way about me. He was like, dude, can you just like chill? But when we meant that, we meant it in like totally opposite directions of exactly the same thing. So, you know, I guess there's that. Trying to get like a base for what the color I want to do is. And it's somewhere in this region. And I feel like I like this gradient that I got going on. I'm already starting to like this one more than the other one. No offense, other guy. But this is more color-wise, more interesting to me. I guess I wanted to do like up and down, but I guess I'm not doing the side to side now. I don't know, this painting's kind of doing its own thing. Let me see how Mom's doing. She asked me if I was working, and I'm like, no, I'm just streaming. And she's like, are you at work? And I said, no, and said, no, I'm just streaming. She's like, oh, go stream. I'm like, okay. My mom's super sweet. I got lucky. That's what I was saying on the Mother's Day stream, is like, I got lucky. She's cool. I just need to make more green. I don't have enough. What's my favorite color combination? I really like black and gold. For painting, I really like red and brown. That color is super pleasing to me. That color combination. Need to be able to get more down in a single brush stroke than what I'm doing. I don't want to spend all day just putting in the green background, you know? But this yellow that's making this green is super thin. And I went slightly too light. I put too much yellow in this one. So it's coming out slightly wrong. Nah, whatever. We're going to work on it and just sort of let it evolve. And, you know, if this isn't the right painting either, I'll do another one tomorrow. We'll get this going. This is why I like having 2 paintings going. Because then if one sucks, then I don't put it out on the Arcade channel. That's why there's only one video every 2 weeks rather than a video every week. Because if there was a video every week and I just had a bad week, or if I have a week like next week where I'm going to be working most of the days, then I don't have to stress. It's like, okay, I can just try again next week and I'll get it right. Unfortunately, last week, I just kind of, I wouldn't say slacked off, but I just didn't have time. And so I'm kind of trying to force it into this week, and I kind of had the same issue. So it's like, these were investors, I wouldn't be able to pull that. If y'all were, you know, instead of just casual viewers, you were like, I don't know, a gallery show, I couldn't be pulling that. I have to be more on top of my stuff than I am. You know, if I'm going to make this channel survive, it needs to have a video every 2 weeks, preferably every day. Realistically, I can't do that because I'm not a superhuman. So every other week will have to do. I feel like it needs more blue in the green. We're recording, right? Yes. Didn't see the thing there for a second. I was about to freak out. Drop of yellow. Huge drop of blue. Just sort of mix it all together. Get that going again. What are y'all working on? Guess I should ask that, because that's a good question. It's like slightly too green. It needs to be more saturated than that. Like I need to mix like a gray in, so it just gets like muddy and gross and like bleh. Just needs to be like a whatever color, like a green kind of slimy almost color. That's what I'm going for. I'm getting too like pure of a prismatic green, I think. Let's get this guy back in his spot. Open up my store on Etsy, and I'm sorting out Rent Cafe. Ooh, geez. Yeah, that's... Internet stores are rough. I considered Etsy, but Etsy is really hard to... I don't know. The main issue is I'd have to have like a P.O. box, and I'm not selling enough prints a week to justify having a P.O. box open. I have to come in here with actual black here in a minute once things dry, but I can get the gradient going at least. I want some like really like striking, really stunning like contrast variants here. That means a little bit of mud going into like some really strong stuff later. So I'll fix out the colors over here later, but generally, kind of sort of the color I want, not quite. And then I'm gonna get the wall that he's peeking around. This is a dude peeking around a wall. I honestly kind of almost like this gray-green more. We'll try and not overdo it either. Just a gross sound. You sound more relayed now, relaxed maybe? Yeah, doing something like Etsy is a good idea, but I just don't have the time in my day to do something like Etsy. I feel like Etsy is a huge commitment, because you gotta just process those shipments and stuff. It's kind of why I like using Redbubble. This is where I'm selling my prints from right now. I don't get as much, but it's like I also don't have to spend as much. Like, they just happen, and when they happen, I get the money, and if they don't happen, I don't not get money. Like, I don't lose money, I just don't get money, which is good. But if I have like a P.O. box and an Etsy, like, to have the Etsy going, I gotta have the P.O. box going, and that just, I don't know. While I'm not selling art, I'm hemorrhaging money. It's just like, I'll wait until I'm doing a little bit better with my art stuff to like do that, and then I'll start worrying about stuff like that. I've seen a couple people recommend eBay, and that seems like a good choice, you know? Like, setting up the art, posting on an eBay, and selling it there. I think the prices I'm setting right now for myself are slightly too high. Try and get this green kind of mixed in. It doesn't have to be apparent, but like just sort of like you know it's there just by association. And it didn't really work. It didn't really mix the way I'd like. His head's slightly too small. We're gonna have to fix that. It's fine though. It's a sketch, so it doesn't really matter if it's right. Just have to be like, things are in the generally right spot. Paint is not staying loaded for as long as I would like, but I guess I'm putting on a lot of paint over a large area, so I shouldn't really complain. I think that's the issue, is I'm used to smaller brushes. I mean, I did that other painting with like this tiny thing the whole time, and so I think that was the issue. I might go ahead and come back and do that on this one as well, just give it some more variance. We might do like an up and down thing. I don't know. Commissions are good, but I've had some really weird commission stories that just really make me not want to do it. And I feel like my experience is abnormal rather than like normal. But commissions are good, you just have to like, if someone goes, that's too expensive, you need to be able to justify your price. Going, well, it's $60 for materials, plus I need to pay myself. If I pay myself minimum wage, then I do this much. I am a good artist, therefore I need to pay myself more than minimum wage, so that means it's this much. Eventually I want to have a video on how much you're supposed to like charge, or how to price your art. But I need to figure out how to do that myself. I like the ways that I'm doing it right now, but no one's buying it, which means that I'm probably overpricing or I'm selling it in bad places. So, it's one of the two. Not sure which, though. let me figure out how much like people actually want to buy my art for, and then I'll give you guys actual numbers on how to do that. There are formulas to do it, but I do not feel like I am the right person to say it right now. Let me sell one of those things. As far as how to make money as an artist, I think YouTube's one of the ways. Because even if this painting tanks, theoretically, if this channel was monetized, then, you know, I can recoup some of it. So it's not like a constant drain. And if I have an interesting topic going on, then I can kind of make it out without... Also, if you need any input, I can drop some. Go for it. If you see something and I'm not seeing it, let me know. So I want to go for like I think I want this gray, but it's a little bit more green than that. And a little bit lighter as well. It's a little bit fleshy, so it's got a little bit of... It's going to have a little bit of red in it. Not a lot, so maybe this brown instead. Let's try this. Let's try this and see how it goes. So, let's try and sculpt out his face. It's super gray. It's kind of where I want it to be. Let's try and figure out where his head is. So it's like... I have to redraw his eyes in a minute, but whatever. It's fine. This gross color is perfect. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to get some of the values shifted because I think this is slightly too dark, but we can make parts of this lighter. I think that's the way to do it. I don't know, I've been just kind of leaning into this direction of like things that lurk in the dark sort of aesthetic rather than skulls. I've been feeling that more and more recently. Like, I've been noticing that that's something that, like, visually I'm attracted to as far as, like, other stuff that people are doing. And I feel like I can do it better. It's the only reason anyone becomes an artist is because they think they're better than other people, I guess. Or they have something they can say that other people haven't. In other words, better. I need this background to be a little bit less green. You like it so far? It is coming along. It is going to be something eventually, but not quite yet. Eventually. I'm not going to fuss with that because I am not feeling too confident about my painting skills, so I'm going to go for the easy stuff until I'm like warmed up. This spot is a little bit lighter, so we're going to add a little bit of white right here. The rest of it's actually about as dark as that, I think. I'm going off of a pencil sketch, so it's not going to be... The values are either dark or middle or light. I'm using like a really cheap pencil because I can take it to work and that kind of thing and not have to worry about it if it gets stolen. Plus, I just like cheap pencils when I'm doing art. But it does have the problem of it's not archival, it's, you know, this and that. But if I'm not selling it, then I don't care. I'd rather go with the cheapo thing when it's just for me. But it does cause unique problems, which is unfortunate. The cheap mechanical pencils are super bad for you as far as an artist, though. I don't recommend it. I don't do as I say, not as I do. I do not recommend using cheap pencils to do art. We're gonna go basically until I run out of battery on the camera, or until it runs out of space, whichever happens first. I'm not sure. I think it's the battery runs out first, then the space. It's pretty synchronous. I think I was saying last time, I eventually want to save up a little bit and buy a new battery and an extra memory card. And if I do that, then I can probably considerably up my painting time. But there are times where I just need to stop. Like, I'm just making a big mistake and I'm not seeing it, and it's just like I'm going because camera's rolling, keep going. And then I look back and I'm like, what was I doing? What is that? You know? So having the camera cut off my time that I'm painting is sometimes a blessing. I think after we get done here, I'll try and queue up for another game of Warhammer. I made a new army. Looks pretty good. I don't know if it's actually good. It's with Night Lords and forget who else. The general idea is how low can I make your leadership stat go, so that way I can just spook you out of the field, rather than actually like going after you with like weapons and stuff like that. Just like, I'm just gonna be super spooky. It's really funny because the Night Lords look stupid, like really stupid. I feel like art is possibly profitable, but I don't think it's one of those fields where you can look at the median and go, yeah, you know, if you're an artist, you're gonna be making, you know, $200,000 a year or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's because like 3 guys are making like $1 billion a year, you know? And chances are you're not that guy unless if you're showing the MoMA, which I don't really have any interest in. I don't have any real interest in like the high art kind of stuff. But unfortunately, the kind of stuff that I do would probably serve better there than in pop art sort of situations. So it is what it is. Wouldn't say no. Like if the MoMA contacted me and was like, hey, we really like your streams and we'd like you to you know, come and do art or post up your art in the internationally famous art exhibition known as the MoMA, I'd be like, yeah, alright. Same as being knighted. Like, I wouldn't really go out of my way to get knighted, but like, if the queen wanted to knight me, I might do it. I don't really know what that means. What do I have to do? Like, I know back in the day you actually had to like go defend the queen, but it's like, can I even get knighted? I'm an American. I don't know. I feel like they have like favorites, and by favorites I mean I feel like they like prefer, you know, Brits, which makes sense. It is like a British title, right? This is an acrylic painting, yes. So I could wait and I could stop and let that dry, but I'm just gonna pick at it because I'm dumb. Acrylic is, I feel like, some people say it's harder. I think oil is harder because if you screw up, you gotta wait. I feel like it's harder to like clean up mistakes. With this, you can just wait for a bit. That's funny. Yeah, I'm already liking this more than the last one. I find oil just to be annoying. It's so... it smells bad. And as a aside, I believe, I may be wrong, I believe the apartment complex is again resurfacing the tub. Which I feel like affects my mood as well. Like, I don't think it's like me being upset, I think it's like actually like the fumes do something to my head. Can't confirm that. Don't know what they're resurfacing it with, but you know. I think the people next door got kicked out for subleasing. Which I think is illegal here in Austin. I don't know, really. I actually should probably make this black with like a little bit of green in it. That probably will look better. So like, he needs to be like, right. Yeah, I feel like that's a little bit better. Maybe. Yeah, I'm already liking this one more. More than the last one. The last one I think I spent too much time on and just didn't have good, I don't know, answers for issues I was having. This one I feel like is on its way to being good. It's not good yet, but I'm doing the right things. Painting is much easier of a skill to pick up than it looks. I don't know about that. I guess it's like chess. You can do it, but then like you actually have to get good. Oh, why did you turn on? Are you okay? Did you run out of fuel? What happened? Ah. Oh, shoot. That was almost bad. Okay. Almost dropped the mic. Are we okay? Not totally accurate, and in fact I think this area needs to be green and I need to cut down on that a bit. I might come in with the black later and kind of make this, I want the area behind him to be dark but like indistinct, because it's kind of far off. Like, this corner is really close to us, but the background, whatever that is, I don't really care, so I'm not going to really detail it too much. It's going to be pretty far back there. Sketch it in with white, be wrong, fix it later, you know? So it's like, this needs to be like that. And I'm gonna have him have really creepy long fingers, because that's cool. So this is not how you draw fingers. It's not what you need to be doing. You need to be making them much shorter than this. But I think, because he's like something in the dark, he's a pit creature, he can have weird long fingers that don't look right, you know? I think little tiny variants like that are better than trying to do like, I don't know, huge variants. Just like, it's one of those like basic rules of horror that like, if we recognize something as familiar, but there's something off about it, and it's just a little bit off, it's the whole uncanny valley thing. It makes things creepier. I want him to be a little bit spooky, but he's like freaked out too, you know? Before he painted the face, I thought it was the pyro from TF2. I saw you saying something about, like, is this TF2? And I'm like, what are you talking about? That makes sense now that you say it, I guess. Well, we'll sketch in some fingers so that way it looks better in a minute. Generally speaking, like that. Yeah. This is the base layer anyway, so if it's not perfect, it's okay. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be good enough, you know? And then we'll fix it later. Solid fingers. I started following him on Twitter recently. That guy. I was a huge fan of that when I was a kid because, I mean, honestly, is that a surprise to anyone watching my content? I feel like you were either a Solid Fingers or Charlie the Unicorn Kid in like the 90s, 2000s, whenever that was. And depending on which one of those you were, depended on how you turned out. You were into like Solid Fingers and stuff like that. Like I got made fun of to no end by my friends. They were like, "What is this, man?" I'm like, "This is great. Don't you like it?" I think you should watch both of them because without context, you will have no idea what I'm talking about. Watch Solid Fingers, watch Charlie the Unicorn, and then you can experience what my childhood was the fight on which one of those was better. That's about like an evenly length finger, right? I feel like it. I like the water sounds. Tilda found, it is, okay. Ooh. Oh, Homestar Runner. That was the other one. Homestar. Marzipan. I had a friend who could do that voice perfectly. I can only, like, approximate Homestar Runner's voice. I tried showing it to Tilda, because I was like, man, I love this. This was my childhood. Watch some, like, Homestar Runner with me. And she was like, what? Why? Why was this a thing? It just doesn't work. Strong bad. It's very relaxing. Well, good. It's kind of the idea. Either it gives you some inspiration to do some art, or it's relaxing. I just want it to be a good time, you know? The music helps. The music helps a lot. It's nice and chill. I don't think that's right, so I'm going to stop doing it because that's wrong. There is like a darker color. Where's my brown? There it is. Got like little splotches of brown on my palette from the last painting, and they're dry, but they don't look dry, so when I try and use them, they don't work. So just kind of sculpt out his cheek here. I want there to be like some pretty intense darks in here as well, but I'm not really sure where yet. I think around his eyes are probably a good spot, but maybe I should stick with the brown. I can go darker if I need to. Start with the brown, work my way up. Okay, that's starting to get dry. Okay, So where is his forehead? So his forehead is like here. Say that gives him that this part of the head. I don't know what that part of the head's called. I'm an artist, not a botanist or whatever a person who knows people anatomy is called. We got one eye there, one hole for eye, face hole. We got that there. Well, I keep these lit up on YouTube, so that way, like, if I don't know why I said lit up, but I keep them on YouTube, so that way, if you want to like watch a full-length thing, you totally can at any given point. And that gives you something that you can just kind of have in the background, kind of to be a little bit of art inspiration. Maybe there's a couple channels that are good that are like this, but I want to do something different. I want to do video games and creepy skulls and creepy dudes, you know? Everyone's doing like really nice, I don't know, foxes playing in a field or whatever, but that's like not my life. That's not me. I like those cute things, don't get me wrong. I'm not a total edgelord, but like mostly I am, I guess, is the point. I don't know. I like a little bit of everything, man. I don't like just sticking to whatever. Do you know anything about Impressionism? I don't know why I've had such a hard time doing it. You probably don't have thick enough paint. To do Impressionism, you need to use really thick paint, and you just need to be globbing on entire tubes every time you brush on. Like, just a lot. And you gotta be doing little tiny, like, that kind of brush stroke, rather than like the... I enjoyed the video game art streams you did about a year ago. That's kind of why this channel exists, because I want to do more kind of stuff like that. I mean, it's named the same thing for the same reason. Because I want the thing to be a little bit like that. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. People like you are the reason that I'm doing it. I actually had someone come up to me, quite a few people, actually, last TMG. And they're like, you know, hey, loving my summer car. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. When are you going to do more art streams? When are you going to do more art stuff? Like, people actually like that? People actually want to see me do art on stream? Like, I would say that's about like half of the people who walked up to me last TMG. Were people who were like, you should do more art. It's like, okay. Sound like my mom. Inspiring me to be a better person and stuff. I like that green. It's gross. Super gross. I don't like the idea of him having an actual, like, full face nose thing. And his nose needs to be down a bit more. It's like closer there. I'm gonna cover up over this. What other cons do I attend other than TMG? Well, I'm not going to TMG this year. I can't really push it. Things are okay financially for us, but like we can't take on stuff like that right now, which is unfortunate because I feel like TMG is my like mid-year like morale booster. Like seeing people come in and be like, your streams mean a lot to me. Like I hear that online sometimes, and people will message me that they'll be like, you know, been having a real rough time, but you know, watching your streams I feel better. You know, you see that online, but like there's something more personal and more real about someone saying it in person. So I don't know. It's hard to leave TMG in a bad mood. Like I always end up feeling like I'm a better person than I actually am. Which is great because I need that for like the rest of the year. And then that immediately goes into like the charity stream and stuff like that. And it's like, cool. I'm getting that, you know, little boost. That way I'm like hitting it harder. I'm, you know, a better streamer. I always seem to need it about this time of year. Part of it is, I think, just like YouTube does wacky stuff at the beginning of every year. I don't know, I think they just like have an internal challenge with their own department to just be as weird as possible and see what happens. And then they end up doing something dumb and they have to fix it, and then they don't. I'm sorry, Joey. I hope you feel better. That sounded really arrogant and condescending of me, I guess. Didn't really mean for it to sound like that. That whole comment, but just when I say thank you and I mean it, like, you know, like, thank you so much for coming and stuff like that. Like, I actually really mean that. Like, it means the world to me that, like, you guys like my stuff. To quote an inspirational singer, songwriter, poet, Fred Durst, without the fans, there is no show. That's true. There's really nothing to, you know, if people don't show up for streams, if people don't, you know, talk during streams, you're basically talking to yourself. And a lot of streamers start that way. I started that way. And so having that change where people are actually watching now, where they're engaged with my content and they care, it's a lot, you know? You could set up a Discord for people to praise me. I don't mean it like that. It's just, you know, I think everyone's, if you're an artist or a musician, like, you care about, like, whether or not it gets out there and whether or not it means anything. I don't know, I guess some people don't. Some people just do it for themselves. There's that, but I also do it for, like, I don't know, I like seeing what it does. Some of the videos I put out are just videos to, like, kind of to mess with people, see what happens. And so the joy for me is not making the video, but watching people's reaction to it later. That's mostly like the top 5 countdowns and stuff like that. I already have the Discord for, and that's like, I don't know, everyone just kind of hangs out and talks about whatever. Just, I need this to, like, swing in right here. It's gonna bug me until I fix it. I probably can actually fix that now. It's a little bit too close to the skin color instead, but I continue to brush it on because I'm dumb. And there we go, now we're fixing it. That's better. Want, like, a really high contrast between his body and the background. It's also weird being seen as anything other than just a dude. Working a day job makes me feel very humble. It's good. It's good for me. Also gets me out of my head. It gets me off YouTube. There's only so many hours you can spend looking at YouTube analytics before it just becomes depressing. because even if you're doing well, you can see a fluctuation of maybe less than 1 percentile, and it's just like, this is it. This is the end. It's over. I've done something wrong. That last video wasn't any good. I shouldn't post anymore. I should stop. And then, you know, it goes up the next day, and it was just like a fluke or whatever. Or you get those... There's a couple purges every year for YouTube. So I usually just check with other, you know, content creators, see if they're... see if they're, like, posting about stuff, like they're freaking out as well. If I see someone else freaking out, I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. It's just the sub purge. YouTube doing its thing where it randomly decides that some people should be unsubbed. It's fine. And some of that is closed accounts, some of that is like they're bots, you know. Usually it's like, I don't know, for every 1,000 it'd be like 10. What do I think of the yeet meme? I don't really get it. I don't really know what it is. So I don't know how to like casually bring it up in conversation. It's usually how I know whether or not I understand a meme or not. Oh, are we out of battery? Card full. Alright, well, battery break time? Yeah, I think we're done for the day. This is not the best painting I've ever done, but it's going on the right track. I'm more impressed with this one than I am this dude. This dude, I feel like he's okay, and I can fix him still. And I may still go back and fix him. But I think he's gonna take the back burner. He's gonna be back here. There's a few paintings that I have like that. But this is going in the right direction. This gray needs to be a little bit more interesting. This line needs to be straighter. I'm just realizing that now. And then I need to start sculpting this out a bit more. This is a good first layer. I'm liking where it's going so far, but it's going to need a couple more layers. I guess you guys will see how it goes in the end. I'm using the black to kind of block things out because I do want there to be a lot of dark behind him. But maybe I'm using too much. The brown is good for highlighting stuff on the face, and we'll figure things out. And I do want to have, like... Dang it. I want to paint more. But I'm out of card space, so I gotta stop. Wonder if I can actually get to the... Well, thank you, guys. I don't know, I guess what I should say is thank you. That's what I mean. Generally speaking, with everything I've said so far today, thank you guys. It's really, really easy to just get in your own headspace and see stuff wrong, and then when you actually like step back and look at it, look at like the people that are actually like watching your stuff, it's like, you know what, I'm doing okay. And people, I don't know, YouTube is a awful business, and I do not recommend getting into it, is what I'm trying to say. Scared 2. The Scarening. Thank you. Yeah, that looks a lot better actually on y'all's screen than it does mine. And by screen, I mean in real life, but you know. Well, thank you, Chris. Very spooky. It's very spooky. The colors always look a little bit different. That this molding in the back, that is white. It's it comes out as a little bit greenish on y'all's screen, which means that all of this is turning out a little bit greener than it actually is. You guys have like a solid, like, I would say second or two delay. It's crazy. I was gonna do mermaid or mermaid, but I just ended up not. Because whatever, I don't feel like it. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'll see you guys later. Otherwise, you can just never come back to the channel? What am I trying to say? Don't worry about it. I'll see you guys later. I need caffeine. I need to stop drinking caffeine. I'll see you guys later. Bye!